Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you what would be a part of a Majesty telephone. This telephone sits on a pedestal, and they only sent in a part of this telephone, and this is Charles and Sue's telephone from Indiana, and they've got a note here that it's basically a 4-foot brass pedestal, and that it's a Majesty telephone and made in Japan, and they're having a problem with some no dial tone. There's a plastic stop for the dial in the bag broken, and they want the handset cord replaced. And so basically they have all kinds of different problems, and since I knew this telephone's been in the shop for a little bit, since I knew they had some issues with the rotary, I've worked on enough of these. You don't see these too often. They're kind of rare. You see them once in a while, but you don't see them too often. And since I knew this one had a rotary problem, I had one of my suppliers tell me that they could probably get me a rotary for this telephone. And when they finally located this rotary that they were going to come up with for this telephone, it was the wrong one. So basically now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this telephone. This is the initial checkout of this telephone, and I wanted to get the rotary to have either to use it or to have the working parts, but it turned out to be a different one, and so we have the wrong rotary for this telephone at this point. And not a big deal, because all the parts that we ever get always get used up really quick. So I'm going to go ahead and go into this telephone. This is the initial checkout. Now this telephone came in this way, and so you know, telephones come in sometimes all apart. So you know, I've seen all kinds of different situations where they're all apart, or someone has started working on them, or whatever. But they come in all kinds of different you know, styles. You know, half taken apart, all the way taken apart. And so basically what you're seeing is what you know, how it came in, and we're going to start kind of trying to make a little bit of sense out of what's going on here. And I'm going to start trying to take some of this apart, and I want to remove, they've got some of this tied by a string. I want to remove this. And I can tell the rotary is not the right rotary, just for the simple fact that the one that I do have is a lot bigger. Now here we have our hook switch cradle and screw, so that's in a bag. That's a good deal there. And kind of try to remove this tape. In this bag it looks like what we have. Kind of get this tape out of the way here. In this bag it looks like we have a finger wheel, a spring, the locking mechanism for the rotary. There's also probably a piece of plastic, they said. I see it right here. It's not uncommon. Sometimes we make parts, you know, through the years we've had to make many parts. I want to get a look at what they mean by the handset, because usually these handset cords did have some quality behind them. So I want to kind of get a look at this one and kind of determine, you know, I mean, really the handset cord just really looks to need to be cleaned up. I don't see anything really all that wrong with it. And these type of handset cords are not easy to come by. If you notice, what they are is they're pretty much specially made for this telephone. And I don't see anything wrong with this handset cord other than it's dirty. Now, it's just the initial checkout, but what we're going to do is I'm going to go through this telephone and I'm going to check all that out. Now, I think what we can do here, I should be able to remove part of this dial just from the outside, but since most of it is, the network is located in the top here, we want to take this off. I want to give you a look. There's your plunger for your network, and then what you'll see here is this network is inside, and there's also a bell that is located down inside. It might have something attached to it. So what I want to do is I want to start taking some of this apart. Just to get a look at it. Now, although they made several different Majesty telephones, some of them went together differently, and some of them had different style rotaries and different workings on them. And so we're going to kind of try to get this apart and take a look at what's going on here. If this needs any other type rings, I believe I remember something about it might need some type of ring on the rotary or something, some plastic or something. There's not a lot of parts available for these, and basically if it's missing some parts, they might be very hard to come up with. See what they've got here. Looks like somebody just stuck that down in there. This is what we're going to have to go through. We're going to have to go through this rotary and find out exactly what kind of problem they're having. It's not returning, that's for one thing, because the spring's in the bag. But we're probably going to have to go into this rotary here and rebuild this rotary. And I'm still on the search for maybe the proper rotary workings, and but they may have to, we may have to rebuild this one and go through it. But this kind of gives you a look at what's going on here with this telephone. You just have to kind of go through these things on the initial checkout and kind of see what's going on, because you're basically seeing what I'm seeing for the first time. There was no reason to go into this telephone until I found the rotary from a supplier, but since it turned out to be the wrong one, then basically now we have to go into the unit. Now there's a screw here, and it doesn't seem like it's going to want to come out, and it's on the network. It holds the network in, and it's going to give me a little trouble because it's got some oxidation and it's dirty. So I'm going to have to work on that screw before that's even going to come out. And we don't need to take this housing out. That was just to hold the rotary workings. And so it's just one of those things. We could check and see if there's a transmitter. Yes, it has an old style transmitter in it. The handset's in need of some repair. But it has a transmitter in it, and let's see if it has a let's see, it has a receiver capsule in it. You just never know. You know, it does have its receiver capsule. That's a little loose too. Most of the parts are here, so you know, it's just going to be one of those things. We're going to have to go through the telephone and start working on it. I suspect this goes on down to what would be a modular port situation. I'm going to have to open this up and see what they've got in here. It says it's a I'm not sure what they've got underneath this tape. There's some kind of connections, but we'll have to put them in a plastic bag. Anyway, this is going to be one of those deals where we're going to have to go through everything. We're going to have to check everything out. I'm still going to try to get another rotary for this telephone, but I don't know how bad a shape this one's in. I see a broken piece right here floating around inside here. Okay, that goes to the clutch. This is the clutching unit right here, and this goes to the clutch. So we're just going to have to get into it and see what we can do for this telephone. I might be able to rebuild this rotary and get it working again, but this is a piece out of this clutch, and what happens is that spins around, and the ideal to this clutch is it spins around and it only spins at a certain speed or it starts to slow it down. It's almost like a repelling, like if somebody had a rope and they were hooked up to a repelling unit where they jumped off a building and it would repel them down at a certain speed. It's the same difference here. This spins around and only lets the rotary go return at a certain speed or close to a certain speed each time. So it's a clutching device, basically. And so we're going to have to go through that and see if it can be rebuilt. But obviously there's been something going on with this dial. It's got a bunch of parts that are just flopping around, and it's not in good shape. So at this point, we're going to try to do some more videos of this telephone and try to get some things squared away with it and try to get this telephone back to a usable situation. And like I said, we get these telephones in all kinds of different types of levels of condition, and they come in all kinds of different just they can be apart or already been messed with and somebody's looked at them. But this handset cord does not look like it's we're going to test it and try to put that back in the rotary. We're going to test this handset cord, but it doesn't look bad. It looks like it just needs to be cleaned up. And believe me, I think by the time this telephone gets put back into a working condition, we probably want to save whatever we can save, just for the simple fact that we were trying to keep the cost down for the customer and for Charles and Sue. So anyway, this is a Majesty telephone. This is the only parts that they sent in, and Charles and Sue are from Indiana, and I'm Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. I'm going to try to do some more videos of this telephone as we work towards the repairing process and getting this telephone back to normal. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.